The long-awaited reveal for Mario Kart 9 has arrived.
Let's go!
That's right, costumes are here. Introducing Watermelon Shirt Mario. Dash to the finish line in the only brand new track, Pond Pathway. Reintroducing popular items such as the mushroom, but watch your mustache, this mushroom packs a serious punch. Woohoo! The banana makes a return as well, use as directed. Mirror Mode will launch as free DLC in 2026. Mario Kart 9, launching May 31st, 2024. It's a joke! Nintendo's never gonna make Mario Kart 9, you sillies! Are you kidding me? Hey everybody, it's JoPro, and today we're gonna talk about Mario Kart. That's right, we're gonna do the thing and rank every single track from the base game, the Wii U DLC, the Booster Course Pack. That's 96 tracks in total. It's pretty crazy, so go ahead and buckle up, fasten your overalls, and let's go! Because this is gonna take a long time. A long time. Like, I don't even wanna make this video because it's gonna take me like 6 months. Let's go! Keep in mind, the following is just my opinion. Also, each entry will have its own track score out of 5 stars and a music score that reflects the soundtrack alone. With all that said, I love ranking stuff, so let's rank. Overall, I'm quite content with Mario Kart 8 and the content it's given us, but some tracks are better than others. Unfortunately, a few are straight up bad. Ranked 96, Sky High Sundays easily the worst of the pack, with the only track score of 0 on this entire list and a music score of a measly 1 star, it's an easy choice for last place. I honestly can't think of a single redeeming quality for this hideous disgrace. The layout is basic, the camera and gameplay are wonky, and it's extremely unintuitive that the handrails behave as boosters in anti-gravity mode, for some reason. If you choose this track online, then you might need to see a therapist. Next on this list is Excitebike. It's Excitebike, but as a Mario Kart track. The randomization factor is cool, but the visuals, music, and theme are lame. The layout is just a long oval, and the constant ramps are beyond annoying. Tokyo Blur is easily the worst city track in Mario Kart 8. While the music is admittedly pretty awesome, the layout and visuals absolutely suck. GameCube games look better than this crap, but at least it has Mount Fuji in the background. I really want to go there, so I like that. Sky Garden from the GBA I'm pretty mixed on. It's by no means bad, but it is forgettable. The brick-paved roads look nice and the music is average, but the layout and theme are just so bland. Frankly, I don't have anything else to say about it. Like many kart enthusiasts, I'm not really a fan of the city tracks, and Bangkok Rush is no exception. This is another that is mostly forgettable. It's not awful, but I don't know man, this one doesn't click for me. Cheep Cheep Beach has the unfortunate consequence of being just below average. The theme, music, and visuals are all whatever, and I would never choose it for a race. I do like the jungle and boardwalk segments, but the music and broad theme just don't do it for me. Despite it being my favorite game in the series, unfortunately Double Dash got the short end of the stick for its remakes in Mario Kart 8. Dry Dry Desert in particular sticks out as being an unfortunate misstep in how to remaster a track. The music is still pretty good and it looks gorgeous, but they removed many of the fun obstacles, including the gigantic piranha plant and the quicksand vortex, and the track is way too wide, even for 12 racers. The brand new Oasis area is pretty sweet though. For my money, Water Park is the worst of the Nitro tracks from the original Mario Kart 8. It's another that isn't quite bad, but it just doesn't do anything exciting or fresh. There are too many boring underwater segments and the music doesn't stand out. I do like the theme park setting at least, so that's something. Another tour city track is Paris Promenade. It's Paris, but as a Mario Kart track. This one fares about the same as the others, but I do like driving against the flow of the other racers in lap 3. Being that it's from the first DLC wave, however, the visuals are notoriously weak. Another below average track from the OG Mario Kart 8 is Bone Dry Dunes. I really want to love this one for its unique layout, but the theme is a bit, bone dry. The music is pretty good though. Coming to us from the SNES, Donut Plains 3 is a fun track with good music and boasts a nice layout with some quick underwater moments. However, it's really short and just not interesting in the modern day, and also isn't iconic enough to land higher on this list. imagine if they updated Electrodrome to take place during the day with the lights on, or Mount Wario to occur in the middle of a hot July. Well, that's essentially the manner in which the developers sabotaged Sunset Wilds by removing the sunset. It's still a nice track with really great music, but without the sunset gimmick, there just isn't much to this standard fare of a course. Well, my friends, we've come to the point of the ranking where half of you will probably click off, while the other half of you hopefully will stay. Bear with me here because we have gotten to my biggest hot take of the list, possibly one of the biggest hot takes of the list. So, as it turns out, I'm just not a fan of Koopa Cape. Well, at least not in 8 Deluxe. I think the original is fine, but this one is notably rough. The theme is alright, and I enjoy the River Rapids section with the blue shell structure, but the tube being filled with water was a huge design mistake. The music is fun at first, but quickly becomes irritating, and the visuals are very weak on this one. I just don't understand the appeal. I'm sorry to all you cool Koopas out there. As we firmly transition out of the meh tracks into the average, decent, dare I say, good tracks, we're going to begin with DS Wario Stadium. Really have nothing against this course, I just think that other tracks have done this theme much better, and that the soundtrack fits Waluigi Pinball much better than it works here. I do enjoy the anti-gravity instance in this remake, but the stage just feels generic. Toad's Circuit is often maligned, but I do kind of like it. Sure, the sand and grass looks like literal Donkey Kong puke, and the track is insufferably short, but the tight, snappy turns allow for some incredible drifting, and the music, brought over from Mario Kart 7, is really exceptional. Plus, there's a Toad Balloon. Me like, and me want Toad Balloon. I like Toad Balloons.
Here we go!
It may be a challenge to find a sweeter course than Sweet Sweet Canyon. This sugary sampling has a fun theme and a dynamic anti-gravity segment that branches racers into 2 separate paths. Despite this, I think the layout and track are still pretty forgettable and basic. Though unlike Sky High Puke Fest, this track actually does put me in the mood for ice cream. Let me tell you, this is some good stuff. Here, you want some? I don't have germs. I'm a JoPro. Come on. Here you go. Open up. Ah, there you go. SNES Mario Circuit 3 was another exceedingly basic track brought to the booster pack, and it suffers accordingly. Similarly to Toad's Circuit, however, I think it has great iconic music and a basic layout that is fun to race across, if not all that innovative or exciting. More risks should have been taken to reimagine this one. Next up is Amsterdam Drift. It's Amsterdam, but as a Mario Kart track. You sensing a theme yet? This one boasts a really great soundtrack, and I love the vibrant tulip field in the final lap, but it's an otherwise mundane race with too many boring underwater segments. The original Toad's Turnpike gushes with surreal atmosphere, and its minimalist soundtrack and visual design were a big component of its appeal. Sadly, a lot of that atmosphere is gone in this installment, and the difficulty is greatly subdued. Even so, the music is still pretty good, and in general, I just love me a traffic course. Los Angeles Laps has some funky music that I think I like more than I dislike, but the visuals on this one really do stink. I will say the beach area is a nice moment, but it's odd that more of LA and Hollywood's iconic locations don't make an appearance. Overall, I think San Francisco would have made for a much more iconic California track. By the way, I find it hilarious that the freaking oil fields made it into this course. Like, how was that a priority for the developers? So, you have a new Mario Kart track idea for me? Yes, sir, I do. You know how we have those city tracks? Well, I was thinking we could do one based on Los Angeles, California. Oh, really? Yeah, it's gonna be incredible. It'll show off all the city's amazing landmarks. Wow, 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 wow. Wow. So there's a few landmarks I've narrowed the last lap down to. Oh, cool. There are so many great places to choose from. The Griffith Observatory, the Chinese Theater, I was thinking the oil fields would be great. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Oh. Why? I don't know. I guess I thought representing an entire city based on their oil fields was tight. Oil's cool, right? Oil's hip. Yeah. Yeah, let's do it! Another Double Dash track with a severe case of mistreatment, Sherbet Land suffers from once again being too wide and having fewer obstacles and challenges than the original game. With that said, it is gorgeous and with some fun new shortcuts. The music is also really quite nice. For another of my unpopular opinions, we're jumping over to Music Park. While the track layout and theme are fine, I find the soundtrack for this one oftentimes annoying, and it makes it less fun to replay. For a track all about its music, it has one of the most irritating scores in the game. I also don't like the stage that much. I can't really say why, it's just not my thing. Now, if it had been called Melody Motorway, I think I could have jived with it a lot more. Such a missed opportunity. Tick-Tock Clock is another fan favorite I'm lukewarm on. While the clock theme is unique and the shortcuts are satisfying, I don't find it to be all that visually stimulating, and the music is nothing special. I'd explain myself further, but the clock is going tick-tock. Piranha Plant Slide is yet another that falls into the average category. It isn't bad by any stretch, but it isn't a favorite of mine. The vibrant track colors, especially in the last segment, add some fun detail to this track, but I just don't find this one to be all that replayable. Sadly, Mario Kart 8's original Rainbow Road is far from great. For what it's worth, I love the fantastical rainbow roads that feel like an organic, living highway painted across the stars by the Mario gods. This installment is very much a Toad-made space station that feels more sci-fi than fantasy, and doesn't have a layout that makes up enough for the poor design choices. I respect that the dev team went for something new here, but for many of us it was a misfire. The music is nice at least. Yet another fan favorite that I'm not overly fond of is Mushroom Gorge. For a booster pack course, the visuals, in particular the cave, are really good. My main concern for this track would be the titular mushrooms. In this remake, I think they're a bit janky and they consume nearly half the layout, so sometimes you can bounce on one and completely overshoot the next, thus falling to your doom. Hard pass for an otherwise great course. Rock Mountain, or for you fancy people, Alpine Pass, is a fun 3DS track that received no favors from the Booster Course remake. The visuals here honestly look worse than a GameCube game, but the scope and scale of this track are really impressive for what was initially a handheld course. It feels like an epic adventure, and the glider segments are a lot of fun, if perhaps slowing the pace by being a bit too long. London Loop is a solid city track that still tends to be a bit forgettable. It has some neat locations front and center and reps a great soundtrack, but I don't know man, it's still a city track. It does make me want some fish and chips though, and a warm pub on a cold, rainy day. One racetrack I'm a mixed bag toward is Cloud Top Cruise. I used to really enjoy this one, but in recent years it started feeling rather stale. The only memorable moments are the fleetingly brief airship set piece and the Storm Cloud segment. I wish the airship was a bit longer and the storm was more interesting and dynamic. I will say that the Mario Galaxy inspired soundtrack is exceptional, and I give that 4 stars. Already rounding out Mario Kart 8's lackluster Special Cup is Bowser's Castle. The mighty fiend knows how to construct a badass looking joint, but the sense of doom and danger isn't as apparent here as in previous entries. The rock music is super cool, but I don't know man, I just find the course generic as far as the big man's castles go, so long Gay Bowser. Side note, a single lap Bowser's Castle with 3 sections would be absolutely incredible. It has to happen. First of all, I don't know what Avanti means, so okay, let's figure that out first. Avanti, Italian for move forward or let's go. Well, okay then. Rome Let's Go is an alright city track with cool nighttime visuals featuring the incredible Colosseum, but its layout and soundtrack aren't enough to move it forward to a higher ranking. Boo Lake from the GBA is a pretty good time. This fun course has a surprisingly decent underwater section and some vibrant dark visuals. It is far too short, however, and the layout is as dull as they come. They should have called this one Boo Pond. Rosalina's Ice World has always been a peculiar course. It has a strangely magical but simultaneously haunting soundtrack that earns a well-deserved 4 stars. I also love the Mario Galaxy references, including but not limited to the Comic Observatory. Beyond that though, the theme is a bit bland for a snow track, and the twists, turns, and underwater segment really aren't that great. Barely edging out the Ghost Pond is GBA's Mario Circuit. This remake earns much more care than the SNES Mario Circuit 3, as the base Mario Kart 8 team really put work into adding some verticality and extra detail into this classic raceway. Despite that, it's still not the best Mario Circuit in the game. Another scary night, another spooky fright, and you just might be in danger. Oh yeah, making a Mario Kart video. right?
Twisted Mansion. It's a pretty good time, a little spooky. Just like with Bowser's Castle, I love how the door opens at the start, and the mansion has some really fun shortcuts. The underwater section is kind of lame though, and I wish it had a direct Luigi's Mansion theme instead of being its own thing. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Oh, the ghost is here and it's always a fake. The ghost is here, there's no reason to shake. The ghost is here, oh, give us a break, it's fake. It's a thing, if you don't get it, I'm sorry for your childhood. It's Scooby-Doo. Don't sue me. I'm singing the Scooby-Doo song from Zombie Island. It's the best movie I've ever seen in my life. And if you haven't seen it, then get out. I'm closed. There's a hurricane. I'm closed for business. The video's over. If you haven't seen Scooby-Doo, I'm done with you. Tropical Storm Dew is coming for you, jerks.
Piranha Plant Cove has a nice theme and some good music, but compared to tour highlights like Squeaky Clean Sprint, this one just ain't it. The straightaways followed by 90-degree sharp turns feel very mobile game inspired, a bit like Temple Run, and the darker aesthetic isn't as alluring as I had hoped. I'm also not enthusiastic about courses that are mostly underwater, so Piranha Plant Cove is a bit of a mixed bag. Underwater thwomps are pretty cool though. Oh, would you look at the time, I've really got to speed things up, so it's time for the super speed round. Toad Harbor is fun, I like its San Fran vibes. Nothing too exciting though. New York Minute, it's New York, but as a Mario Kart track. Wait a minute, I've made that joke too many times already. I enjoy the uplifting jazz score, but it's strange how landmarks such as the Statue of Liberty are completely missing. It'd be even cooler if there was a glider section over top some of the iconic skyscrapers. Wario's Gold Mine was 12-year-old JoPro's favorite track on Wii, but the old railroad has taken a dive in recent years. The remake is beautiful and showcases a great piece of music. I can't really justify it being this low, but I guess I think the design and layout aren't as exciting as they could be, or else I'm just old and cranky now. It's gotta be that last one. Ice Ice Outpost is one of the weaker tracks from the original Mario Kart 8's DLC. I really enjoy this one for what it is, but it is the definition of generic, and the split paths don't add all that much replayability or nuance. Of 96 tracks, the game's opening stage really is a good time. Solid music, sense of scale, and an electrifying stadium setting. This track outpaces nearly every other opening track in the series. Next up is Sydney Sprint. Tour visuals aside, the locations are really fun to race through, from the Opera House to the amusement park. And the music in this one slaps. Madrid Drive is definitely one of the better city tracks in the game. The soundtrack is energetic and hype, the layout is fun, and I love the soccer stadium segment. While I'm not crazy for tour city tracks, I very much enjoy when classic Mario enemies make appearances in them, as it adds some Mario flair to the race. So I'm in love with the Goomba's inclusion in Madrid. The Art Museum is another scenic highlight, and I always enjoy spending a good time with Wiggler.
Mario has no ear. A dog chewed it off. He has no ear. It's a dog. If you've seen it, let me know. I'll be at the Coconut Mall buying a new ear.
Look, I want to shop at the Coconut Mall, and I hate malls. What can I say? It's a great track, but I'm sorry it's not ranked even higher. I just wish the mall was a bit livelier with more piantas loitering around and that the cars were tougher to avoid. Thwomp Ruins is shockingly good for the Mushroom Cup. I love the theme, the layout, the shortcuts, and the mysterious soundtrack. In general though, I'm not a fan of the wall alternate path types, and the course isn't all that visually stimulating.
What can I say? I'm a nitpicker. It's what I do.
Now, I'm incredibly mixed on Ninja Hideaway. In some ways, I think it should be bottom tier. It certainly has some of that Wave 1 booster pack cheese to it, but gosh dang it, the place is such a vibe. I love the upbeat music and location variety, but I will admit that some of the elements are janky. The 90-degree turns are gross, and 200cc is nasty. Choco Mountain.
The story of this mountain is, it's chocolate.
As you've already seen, I'm not a fan of most tour city tracks, but there's some good things to be said about Athens Dash. The greater emphasis on history and culture helps Athens stand above most of its rivals that focus on their modern city tropes. I know I'm a bit of a broken record, but I've gotta say it, the visual detail in this one is atrocious. Those homes look like they're straight out of Luncheon Kingdom. Berlin Byways is such fun, it earns a 4.5-star music rating. The music is that good. Beyond pleasuring my ears, this course also contains cars and traffic, which I'm always happy to have, and I love seeing the Womps in lap 3. I think more city tracks could learn from Berlin to add more Mario flair to an otherwise dull, real-world setting. One of the few Double Dash tracks to not be completely neutered in Mario Kart 8 is Daisy's Cruiser. Unfortunately for me, it's also one of my least favorite courses from Double Dash. I enjoy and can partake in the set piece and creative design, the dining room in particular, but I just want more excitement in my kart racer. I'm not really playing to relax, I'm playing to freaking kick my best friend's butt to the curb. This is serious stuff, you know? Moo Moo Meadows is glorious. I'm obsessed, and in some ways, it should be top 5. I'm sure, it's just a farm with some cows, but it's a farm with some cows. The skybox is drop dead gorgeous, and I love the cows blocking up the road in lap 3. Oh, and by the way, the music gets 4.5 stars. It's just brilliant.
You know I'll do it. I'll be a cow. If it means I can live on this farm, I'll do anything.
Coming to us from the epic Star Cup is Sunshine Airport. If the worst track in your cup still finds itself in the upper 50% of courses, then you know it's a great cup. Sunshine Airport has an epic scale to it and was a great concept for a track. I could go for some more direct Mario Sunshine references and maybe more interaction with the airport. As an example, driving through a giant airplane or racing inside a maze of alternate paths in the luggage conveyance sorter. Those things would have been pretty cool. Also from the Star Cup is Dolphin Shoals. Now, I'm usually not a fan of a course with a ton of slow underwater gameplay, and I'm mixed on the usage here as well, but the turnaround segment on dry land is epic and beautiful, and ready or not, I have some facts to spit at you. The music. That sax. It's the first 5-star rating on my list. It's perfect. Neo Bowser City is an interesting case in that it probably doesn't deserve to be this high, but to be honest, I really enjoy its theme and tight layout. Drifting around the city is a ton of fun, and 200cc is truly a challenge. It doesn't really seem deserving of the Bowser branding though, and it could use less railing and at least one big notable set piece. The music, while lifted straight from Mario Kart 7, actually samples motifs from Toad Circuit, the Mario Kart 7 title theme, and even Wii's Luigi Circuit. Another surprisingly high-ranked course is Shroom Ridge. What can I say? I'm a sucker for courses with real vehicle traffic, and this one delivers in a more rural setting. The layout is awesome, especially in 200cc, and the music is top-notch. I'm a bit of a broken record, but the booster course textures really do this one a disservice. Shy Guy Falls is an excellent track from the base game's Flower Cup with its exciting verticality and catchy Shy Guy soundtrack. This one is huge in scope, and I don't have a reason to not rank it higher. I just don't think it stands out as much as some of the upcoming tracks, and it clearly wasn't designed with 200cc in mind. Another Wii fan favorite is DK Summit, or DK's Snowboard Cross for the fancy folk. This track showcases our next perfect 5-star music. It's simply iconic. The visuals here are pretty good and the layout is awesome as ever. Unfortunately, the remake adds a ton of wonkiness to the half pipes and the camera, and I still think DK Mountain is a much more quintessential track. With its recent inclusion, Daisy's Circuit is a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. Its soundtrack in Mario Kart 8 is beautiful as ever, and I've always enjoyed this simple but beautiful circuit track. The sunset is gorgeous, and I love seeing Luigi and Daisy memorialized here as the best couple in the series. Yeah, I said it. Daisy is the best. And so is Luigi. The update given to SNES Bowser Castle 3 is wonderful. Upgraded classic music, beautiful volcanic visuals, tons of added graphical details, and an excitingly challenging layout. Best of all, we finally have a second Bowser's Castle in Mario Kart 8. It only took 96 tracks to get here, but we did it, fellas. If you're keeping count, then you'll know we've come to my second favorite city track in the game. Vancouver Velocity seems to have the fan base split, but I, for one, really like it. The music is superb, and the course is rather appealing on the eyes for a city track. I really love the tree walk segment and the first couple of laps, but the third lap definitely ends things with a whimper. It's also peculiar that Vancouver Velocity released in the Northern Hemisphere summer rather than winter, but I won't hold that against it. I found myself a big fan of Riverside Park. It's absolutely gorgeous for a DLC track, and I love the Patui's adding some item strategy into the fray. The layout is great and a bit vertical, and the waterfall jump is a really nice moment. It'd be ranked even higher, but there's a ton of great entries still to come. Yet another top-notch GBA race is Snowland. I love the musical motif carried into this track from Choco Mountain, and this remaster added a ton of verticality and beautiful visuals to an otherwise straightforward raceway. At the end of the day though, it's still a GBA course, so it's just too short and basic to rank any higher. No track in Mario Kart 8 has me more conflicted than Waluigi Stadium. On one hand, it's a blast from my childhood past and presents unforgettable S-tier music. On the other hand, Wario Coliseum should have taken this slot, and like many other Double Dash tracks, it's way too wide. I don't know what it is with the tracks from this game that the developers feel the need to brutally simplify them, but it gets even worse. The central set piece is ruined with piranha plants that now face away from the track, fireballs that can't hurt you, and again, it's too wide. While I love the nostalgia blast this track provides, I can't rank it any higher due to it being a shell of its former self. Wild Woods isn't exactly an exciting course, but it is really well made. It contains some of the most noticeable and best anti-gravity use in the game, the Shy Guy Tree Village is dope, and the place is pleasant to visit. Nothing too specific to complain about here, but like I said, it's not all that exciting, and it's not as challenging as I'd like. Side note, but I love that the toads at the starting line are sideways due to the fact you actually start this course driving completely vertically. That's a great touch. Grumble Volcano is a solid Wii track brought to the Mario Kart 8 base game. It contains an imminent sense of urgency and danger and has some gorgeous visuals and music. Unfortunately, the entire venue goes by without any visually unique set pieces, and so it does feel like a relatively generic version of a Bowser's Castle in terms of theme. Definitely not in terms of gameplay though, because the grumbling track gimmick is wicked. Super Bell Subway may be a bit like standard fare, but I just freaking love trains, man. The layout is fun and fairly complex, and there's a lot of nice added detail to some of the environment. It's a shame that the music is relatively tame. And we've finally made it to the newest Mario circuit in the franchise. I don't buy into any of the hate for this great course personally. It's incredible visually, has many outstanding moments, and the anti-gravity really adds a level of freshness to this iconic Mobius strip. SNES Rainbow Road is my favorite SNES track. For the first Rainbow Road ever, it's surprisingly fun and appropriately challenging. The iconic soundtrack is fantastical and legendary, and the layout is still a good experience to this day. I wish it had a little more going on besides being a flat stage though. Calamari Desert has Train. I like Train. I rank Calamari Desert very high. It also has a thrilling nostalgic soundtrack that, to be honest, was a bit better in the original Mario Kart 64 version. On the other hand, I love what they did with this track to have it route racers into the train tunnel. As a kid, I'd mostly just drive down the track and play chicken with the train anyways, so this is a very welcome adjustment. As cool as this track is though, without the train it's incredibly low tier, so with that in mind, I couldn't rank it any higher than this. We've finally come to the best city track in the game, Singapore Speedway. This is the only city track I'd have to admit I genuinely love. It earns a well-deserved 5 stars for its positively hype music, and the layout is incredibly exciting. This is the only city track that seriously makes me want to visit a city not already on my bucket list, and although it still shares the usual city track flaws, this is as good as the genre gets. At this point, I've had at least a few fan favorite tracks ranked disastrously low for many of you, and now it's time for the opposite, a track that most find forgettable up in the top 30. DS Mario Circuit is my favorite Mario circuit in the game. I'm sure I sound ridiculous, but I love it. The layout, the fire piranhas, the pipe tunnel, the music, and especially the vibrant new forest environment with our pal Wiggler. The lighting throughout this location is pristine, and I wish more track remakes received as much care into their updates as Mario Circuit got. Yoshi Valley is a fun romp through a rural land of wild Yoshis, and it ignites me with childhood nostalgia. It's also just a fun course and has more branching paths than any other in the series. It's a visual splendor, but I wish the various paths were more comparable in length, or at least if the shorter ones had some negative trade-offs like being extremely difficult to pull off. As it stands, most of these options you'll be ignoring. Also, I preferred how in the Nintendo 64 version you didn't know what place everyone was in due to the console limitations at the time, but I think it should have stayed that way just for the heck of it. I'm a big fan of tracks that take you through a wide variety of stellar set pieces that almost tell a story in a way, like a dark ride at a theme park with several big rooms telling a beginning, a middle, and an end, with smaller sets that bridge or connect the big moments. DK Jungle excels at this, and Retro Studios' involvement generates some fun callbacks to their excellent game. It's also sort of challenging at times with its narrow roadways and obstacles, and the music is exceptional, even if it is just ported directly from the original Mario Kart 7. If I had to nitpick, I wish it had even more environments from the game, such as some of the volcano areas. Maple Treeway is a delight. This calming course inspires the player to relax, breathe, and take in the autumn scenery. It's a lovely venture and made even better by an incredibly solid layout. The twists, turns, shortcuts, wigglers, and barrel cannon are all wonderful, and the music is top tier. The commonplace Mario Kart Wii half-pipes don't really add much for me, but that's no big deal. Overall, I'd say the booster pack actually did this one justice. There's much debate in the fanbase over if Mario Kart should take in more Nintendo IPs and become Nintendo Kart in a sense. I'll say this, if it means tracks get as creative as Mute City and some of the other upcoming courses, then I'm all for it as a one-time and one-game gimmick. Mute City is fun as hell and really expands what a Mario Kart course can be. It's accompanied by 5-star music, a fresh way of coin accumulation, and it's frantically fast-paced. There are too many guardrails though, and visually it's a bit redundant and repetitive. One of the greatest retro course glow-ups ever is Cheeseland, and in fact, it's my favorite desert track ever. I know this may be wildly unpopular, but let me elucidate. This course has another excellent soundtrack. Any song that goes this hard has no business being called Cheeseland. The track has a pristinely detailed background, lots of memorable moments, well-paced shortcuts, and a fun cheese theme. Wisconsin wants their course back. I do wish it did have a bit more yummy imagery, if that makes sense, and was more distinct than a usual desert theme, but you know what? I love this place all the same. I really don't understand the hate for Cheeseland.
It's Baby Park.
Come on now, you know it's true. Baby Park is quintessential Mario Kart. Now, sure, it's the most basic track in the series, but that's why so many of us love it. It almost feels like a battle arena turned racetrack, and I love the theme park setting. Baby Park also works as an excellent rage track, and the music is appropriately fitting. Dragon Driftway may objectively be one of the most well-made tracks in the series. It gets 4.5 stars for its majestic harmonies, and the track layout is our highest yet, with also 4.5 stars. This course is yet another that demonstrates how the Wii U base game's initial DLC is undoubtedly the strongest overall quality tracks in the list. The production value here is wonderfully satisfying, and the layout has a few elaborate moments and fun anti-gravity use. One of the strongest of the recent course offerings is the jolly Merry Mountain. While it is less appealing outside of the holiday season, this one really nails the festive Christmas atmosphere in the winter season. It's vibrant with its red and green hued road, polar train, and beautiful skybox. The layout is sort of rudimentary, but it's still a top tier track.
Sexy Purple Man make good pinball machine track. I like. I rank high, but maybe not as high as you.
Seriously though, Waluigi Pinball is a classic and stands among Airship Fortress as the fan favorite DS track. It's a fast-paced, energetic course that's one of the most unique in the franchise. The music works here far better than it does for DS Wario Stadium, and it's just a hell of a good time. I do wish there were some shortcut opportunities though, and also I just can't understand why the anti-gravity wasn't added to the proceedings, but whatever. It may be a straight-up port in 8 Deluxe, but I'm just happy to have it here. Okay, from here on out, we're talking about the best of the freaking best. I adore every course remaining, and each scored a minimum of 4.5 star rating. Kicking us off is my favorite Wii course, Moonview Highway. Alongside the never re-released Mushroom City, this one is a contender for the best traffic course of all time, and it got an excellent remaster in the booster pack. The dark palette is alluring, the music is quite nearly perfection, and I love the winding highway on the city outskirts. Things aren't quite as enticing once inside the city streets, and I wish the traffic was a bit denser, but oh well, I'm vibing. The Toll Plaza workers are sorely missed though. Ribbon Road got the glow up of the century from its GBA roots and gets this list's very first 5-star rating. Sadly, the music brings its placement down with a measly 3 stars, but it ain't bad. Ribbon Road was given an awe-inspiring level of creative freedom to be so detailed with its environments and background, and the devs did a wonderful job incorporating anti-gravity, hang gliding, and verticality into the mix. Yet another example of the Wii U's DLC kicking absolute butt is the delightful Animal Crossing track. With 4 different seasons and musical renditions, the track has a surplus of creative variety. Again, I love tracks that take you on a journey across iconic locations from a real game rather than feeling loosely inspired by the source material. With its 4 randomized themes, it's also ridiculously replayable. Finally, the results music is the cherry on top of a near-perfect course. Peach Gardens may be a surprising pick for my favorite DS track, but I've always been a softie for this immaculate jaunt. The garden's a serene beauty filled with a few fun segments and lush music. The booster pack, Rejuvenation, actually made it even better by adding a glider segment, some nice visuals, and a seriously cool third lap that takes you through a brand new area of the track, prior to sending you off in the reverse direction through the entire garden. First time I played it, it blew my mind. Also, you can high-five Luigi, so I like it. I like this track. Where can I even begin with DK Mountain? It's certainly one of the Mario Kart series' best entries, and it's well deserving of its very high placement on this list. This Double Dash classic plays out like a wild adventure with a beginning, middle, and end. It's the first track to ever use a barrel cannon as it blasts competitors to the top of a volcano, prompting racers to speed back down across a variety of diverse biomes. The obstacles are frequent, the music is great, and the theming is stellar. I'm so thrilled that DK Mountain made it into the last wave of the DLC because it's one of my favorite tracks ever. But I sadly couldn't rank it any higher as it has been aggressively widened, shortcuts have been removed, and the iconic rickety bridge finale has been completely overhauled. The wider, wavy design is nothing compared to the narrow, bouncy physics of the original. Here it is, after nearly 10 years, it's finally here. The final Mario Kart 8 track has released. It's a fan favorite, a Wii classic, and one of the most iconic courses in series history. Wait, Jacob, no. What have you done? Everything will be fine. It's gotta be fine, right? It's not gonna choose yours, man. We're all fine here. I hate you. Wii's Rainbow Road is a gem, but I'm sorry to say it isn't my favorite Rainbow Road in the series, nor this game. I know Wii nostalgia is powerful these days, but I guess I don't have it as strong as many of you. Nonetheless, Wii Rainbow Road is an endearing, magical, and emotional experience. It's a nice long track accompanied by nearly perfect music. The layout is tough and competitive, and it's easily one of the booster pack's best raceways. I'm thankful it made it into the game at the very last opportunity, but I absolutely am devastated it wasn't Double Dash's Rainbow Road instead. Wii's version is sublime nonetheless, but the layout isn't as fun for me as some of the upcoming Rainbow Roads, and the music, while iconic, doesn't use that classical motif I love that began in Mario Kart 64's soundtrack. We've finally made it to the top 10, and I can't think of a better way to kick things off than with Mario Kart 64's glamorous Rainbow Road. This track gets me emotional with its 5-star music that perfectly encapsulates the magical experience. It fills my nostalgia and desperately makes me long for simpler times. Visually, she's a beauty and a huge upgrade over Mario Kart 8's ugly Rainbow Road. The improvements from the original are substantial. The bouncing chain chomps and the removal of most guardrails go a long way in making this a top 10 course. In fact, if it weren't for the fact it's only one lap, it might just be my number 1 pick. No kidding, I like it that much, but it's a complete joke that you can't adjust to 2-lap races. It's the Achilles heel in an otherwise perfect race. If there's 2 things I love, it's when a course dives fully into a game world and delivers iconography and environments ripped straight from the source. DK Jungle did this well, and Animal Crossing near perfected it. The other thing I love is Zelda. And boy howdy, does Hyrule Circuit deliver. It's a wonderful soundtrack, and the Zelda imagery and branding is elite. It does a great job standing apart from the Mario tracks with its rupee-themed coins, Deku Baba skinned piranha plants, and wonderful castle centerpiece. The layout is a bit on the average side, but the Master Sword shortcut really shakes things up and is fairly challenging to hit in some vehicles. Yoshi tracks tend to be absolute ballers, and Yoshi Circuit is a prime example of this. This Double Dash gem has a perfect soundtrack, gorgeous detail, and a truly special layout in the shape of T. Yoshisaur Munchakoopas himself. The tone and atmosphere of Yoshi Circuit is lively and pure fun, and this track gives no shortage of excellent drifting opportunities. The removal of one of the cooler shortcuts in the franchise is unfortunate, and the Yoshicopter is missed, but other than that, for a circuit course, this track is a standout. There's simply no way around it. Royal Raceway is a masterpiece, and is my favorite Nintendo 64 course in Mario Kart 8. This is an unpopular overrate, I'm sure, but I'm really taken with it. The layout isn't too fancy, but the snaking turns shake things up. The confetti and cherry blossom effects help the course to pop out, and the iconic glider jump over the water towards Peach's castle is chef's kiss. It's a royal shame you can't drive around the castle courtyard though. Honestly, this course is nearly perfect. Oh, and the music. Let me tell you, it defines what Mario Kart music should sound like and the energy it should possess. Narrowly missing from the top 5, Squeaky Clean Sprint proves that the Booster Course Pack really is capable of a couple of bangers. Where to begin with this instant classic? Well, it's as creative and original as it gets, and even implements some new gameplay gimmicks like the fan that dynamically alters the physics of the karts. The alternate path accessed by the toilet explosion is clever, and the wedding band lost down the tub drain is a fun touch. I also love how massive everything is in scale, and the huge variety of track elements. I like to think this bathroom belongs to the same home as Ribbon Road's house, because why not, you know? In 5th place is Electrodrome. Not Electrodome, by the way, in case 9 years later you're still sounding like a fool. For me, Electrodrome is a far better version of Music Park. This track earns a 5-star rating with its epic rave theme, high energy appearance, and trippy track layout. The anti-gravity on display here is way better than almost any other course, and the alternate paths have nice racer interactivity. It's a shame there aren't moments of shortcut potential other than a few minor mushroom cuts. I wish I could rate this course even higher, but the next 4 are even better. The fan favorite Big Blue earns the 4th place position, and I can tell you that it really deserves the honor. If you hadn't noticed yet, I really like single lap tracks, and all 3 segments of this exciting course kick butt. In fact, it's the first course on this list to earn 5 stars for both its track and for its music. And spoilers for the top 4, they've all earned perfect scores. Big Blue is a high adrenaline race to the finish, complete with much better visuals and a more diverse layout than Mute City, and it has good but fair challenge, particularly in 200cc. I also enjoy how it's one of the few courses with anti-grav where you can really feel the sense of inversion and verticality. On many tracks, I think the anti-grav gets a bit lost on the player since you're always oriented properly, but in this one, you really can feel the background pivoting around you. I love it. It's a good time, and I love it. I can't believe I'm saying this, but what was once my favorite track in the entire game is now down in 3rd place, not because it's gone down in favorability, but because 2 other courses from the Booster Course Pack have surpassed it against all odds. But Mount Wario has everything. Everything, I say. Excellent gliding segment? Yes. A super intense forest area with some legitimate challenge? Yes. A 3-segment single lap track? Yes. A 5-star soundtrack with some Smash Bros. 64 sampling? Yes. Wario's Dam? Yes. A dangerous avalanche finale? No. But that would be pretty cool. Like I said, the place is a masterpiece and an achievement in Mario Kart design. It feels like an epic adventure from beginning to end, and it's a testament to the developers that they really knocked it out of the park with this one. I love Rainbow Roads. I love them. I really, truly love them. In Mario Kart Double Dash, I could be 30 points behind on the All Cup, but as long as I won on Rainbow Road, none of it mattered. The emotion was there, the stakes were never higher, and I was ready for victory. While Double Dash's Rainbow Road is still my favorite track in the series, 3DS Rainbow Road is close behind. The single lap 3-segment track does this course a huge favor by allowing it to branch out across many more locations than any other Rainbow Road before or since. And unlike N64 Rainbow Road, it's long enough to justify the single lap. The rainbow art design is radiant and impressive and provides much needed visual splendor to the booster course pack. The only real negatives are that the moon slows the pacing down a bit and that the final turnaround into the finish line is kinda lame. It'd be cool if it had some obstacle or object it winded around rather than just being a random last minute curve. Finally, I can't even articulate how wonderful the music is, but I do believe it's my favorite soundtrack in Mario Kart 8. It pulls at the old heartstrings, you know? Sure makes me miss being a Mario-obsessed kid. Wish I was miss being a kid.
Well, my friends, this is it, the moment you've all been waiting for. I'm as shocked as anyone to admit, but I have to say it. The best course in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe comes from the freaking booster pack. Sure, a good chunk of the courses were completely phoned in, but good golly did one Nitro course blow my expectations away. Yoshi's Island. It's so good. Visually, a masterpiece. The art style is vibrant, colorful, and fun. The watercolor style is applied to loads of obstacles, elements, and background objects. The music? Classic, from the opening jingle to the results music and all the in-between. The track layout is phenomenal, truly the best in the entire game. All bases are covered. A brief but fun underwater segment, an outstanding pair of glider sections, exciting twists and turns, and the best designed shortcut in the entire game. It's a real challenge to trigger too, and I still can seldom manage it. The track is also host to some incredible set pieces and locations, from the volcano to the clouds, the fields to the cavern. There's never a dull moment in Yoshi's Island. The variety is stellar. Perhaps it's recency bias speaking, but for now, this is the new standard for what a Mario Kart course can be. In fact, aside from Double Dash's Rainbow Road and Wario Coliseum, it's my new favorite track in the series. Oh, I did it. I ranked them all. There was so many tracks to rank. Didn't you see the video? It was freaking long, guys. I did it, but yeah, I did the thing. I ranked the thing and we're done now. That was a pretty long video, I gotta say, so no long outro this time, but let me know in the comments which tracks are your favorite. If you want to rank all 96, that's fine too. I might not read it, but if you're real quick at typing, you like to type on the internet, go ahead, let me know which tracks of the 96, put them in the order. Whatever, you know. Anyways, this has been a long enough video, so I'm gonna get out of here, but don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.